All right, welcome everybody to our Lunch and Learn with Megabus session in December. I trust you can all see my screen. Introducing a really exciting new module today, which is Electronic Supplier Statements in both Marlin GTX and the Megalink EDI network. So your host for today, myself, Justin Chalk, the CEO of Megabus, and I have David Brewer, our product QA specialist, joining us today. We've got a agenda to run through and some housekeeping rules for the webinar format. So we're here to learn and share best practice and learn a lot more about the work that we've been up to this last quarter. The webinar will be recorded and distributed after today. And at any time, there is a Q&A function in the chat, and David will be monitoring that and facilitating questions throughout today's session. Any topic we discuss can be followed up with your account management and support team, and we'll do our best to keep you on time. It's a busy time of the year, and really appreciate you joining. So what will we learn about today? So we're announcing electronic supplier statements, and really there's three areas of the industry that this impacts. So what it means if you're a wholesaler or a parts distributor, and what you can get access to by integrating statement feeds into the Megalink network. What it means if you are a wholesaler or parts distributor or a mixed mode business that you're currently using Marlin GTX product and the functionality that will give for your business. And for end retailers, what the new module brings, how it provides efficiency in your business, and it should be a really good advancement for your back office team. So they're the segments of the market that this exciting announcement addresses. So for industry distributors, and we're talking about businesses here that supply parts, tires, inventory, moving items through the supply chain. There's over 1,100 workshops that are on a Megabus product, and there's over 2,000 workshops and tire retailers that have access to the Megalink network. So millions of transactions a year pass through this network that we've built, and allows for the transfer of electronic invoices, credit notes, catalogs, promotions, pricing, and availability to be shared through the network of systems. So what we're bringing to the table now is the ability to transmit electronic statements through this service. So you gain access to deliver these integrated transactions through to the network. And the goal of that really is to reduce the reconciliation time that is spent in the industry reconciling statements to invoices and preparing them for payment. So we act also as, it doesn't matter if you don't run our products, we also act as a gateway to get this data in and out of the industry. And we support all sorts of transport methods and translation services available to make this happen. So moving on to what it means for a wholesaler running on our platform already, and for a distributor that's not, this is the entry point experience that the industry can be provided. So megalinking of statements is now available in the document delivery method editor for your customers. Statements can be automatically megalinked when you do your statement runs. And again, this significantly reduces reconciliation time of your customers, and then hopefully payments can be received earlier on time. So the view that you're receiving in the software and where the additional components are is in the document delivery method editor. There's a new option there for other delivery methods, and you can see that just like credit notes and invoices, statements are able to be selected. Carrying that forward into the statement preparation module, you can see that once you're in a statement, the delivery method that you can set and dispatch statements by Megalink is now available. So generally, you might have quite a lot of statements that are getting emailed, hopefully a lot of statements that are getting mega-linked today into the network. And then, there's always an amount of statements that may still get printed and sent. So this method editor allows you to manage all that, and the addition of Megalink allows it all to be digitally sent, which is even more accurate than sending via email. So we're going to move on to the receiving end of that. It's actually quite easy for the sending end. Once you want to interact with the network, you can just set it and forget it. On the receiving end, and also for the distributors and wholesalers that are running on Marlin GTX, there is a new module called Supplier Statement Reconciliation. So this can be used in a manual mode, and that's what we'll work through first. And then it can be used in a integrated mode. And it really sits between the supplier transactions and that register and the process of payments. It allows the user to track the progress of many suppliers and where we're up to in managing our reconciliation process for the month or the period of time that we often reconcile and pay suppliers. It allows a single screen view of your management of that process outside of the traditional going in and out of each supplier and working off a pile of paper, so to say. So we'll flip across to the software and have a look at what this looks like. And I'll take you through a working example. So in the software, the initial screen will load up. So data entry and a new module here called Supplier Statement Reconciliation. So this module will list a view of all supplier accounts and recent reconciliation activity. And at the top, we've got some nice filters. And in my example, I'm just going to filter on any supplier that currently has an outstanding balance for our working examples today. So I've got two suppliers here, an auto supplier and a tire supplier, and we're going to simply open up the tire supplier, which dives us into the reconciliation program. So usually the scenario is that I've received an email or a manual statement from a supplier. Traditionally, we would just go and reconcile that and pay it all in the one go. But this allows the staging of this and reconciliation of these per supplier, allowing you to integrate that into your payment runs in a more thought out and potentially labor separated manner. So you could have a person doing the reconciliations and another person actually processing the payments in the payments area of the software. So what we're required to do is fill in some details about this statement run. So we fill in the statement number that I might have with me in hand, the date, the last due date of the payment on that statement, the cutoff date, and the issuance date of that statement. There'll be a due amount on the statement that we're trying to reconcile to. And there'll be who is keying in this statement run. So we're provided with information about the current status of the account I'm trying to reconcile. And once I hit start, I now get this really interactive reconciliation process. So on the left side of the world is our view of it, all the transactions that have been entered into the software already. And on the right side of the world is effectively the reconciled statement version that in this manual mode would probably be the printed piece of paper in front of you or what's on the screen on your email saying that we would like to reconcile out to pay. So the features across here are really easy. So at any time, we can go and do transactions in the software in case we've missed something or we need to add something. And we hit the refresh button here and we'll get the refresh list of items that are potential candidates for reconciling out. We can simply tick everything in the list and say, yep, that's all reconciled, and I'll move it to the right. I can view more details about a transaction, which is really interesting, especially if you're using our attachments module and scanning in the paper copy or attaching a PDF copy of everything received. You can go straight to the source document with attachments. And there's a really powerful notes function. So you can see here on this invoice previously, potentially I've been chasing this for a number of times, and there's an existing note here on this invoice. So at any time I can come in and I can say that for example, yesterday I requested a copy of the invoice. I can add another note in at any time against each transaction. And that's a really good way for you to get an understanding of why you can't reconcile something, where there might be a dispute, there might be a wrong price issued to you, that you didn't qualify for the promotion when you thought you should, and you can hold those transactions back for approval at any time and keep a long history of that. Finally, there's a powerful filter function that allows us to filter transactions that you want to release for payment. Down the bottom of the screen, we get this really fast search. So if you're in reverse, just looking at your statement, trying to find those statement items to reconcile against, and there may be different orders, you can just use the fast search to come across and filter and jumps directly to any value across here that you may be chasing on that statement list for approval. All right, so what we're going to do is we'll approve the first invoice here. And as you see, as you tick it, it moves across and we've got a reconciliation tally. So we've approved 550, we're trying to land at 2884, and then we're currently underpaying according to the statement. In the columns here, we can make use of the due date for payments. So by entering the due date for payment here, it is suggesting that these are the reconciled transactions to remain. At any time also, we can pull up the details here and actually see what was on that invoice at the time, if there's any disputes. All right, so we want to tag that one across, and we want to tag that one across, and we've got this nice reconciled statement. So that's your perfect manual world scenario. Additionally, if something is sensed that as we keyed it in at the time, but we're going to pull it across for approval and we can see that it's not due for payment yet, it is going to prompt the user to say, hey, this may not have been calculated right at the time. And do you want to move it across for approval? Do you want to partially approve it? And you can manage, it's just another safe keeping mechanism to make sure you're on track with reconciling this statement out. So we're not going to approve that one because it's not due. We tie out here and we simply can finalize that. And now that we can see that this supplier has now got a finalized statement approval and the approval amount. So moving across to the actual payment side of that, if we go into our payments module, this is where this, I guess, extra layer or this extra shim comes in really handy when you separate the process of reconciling versus paying your supplier. So when you come into bulk payments, we can, in this case, just do a whole scan of everything that's been reconciled up to today's date. And that's just going to pull in the approved amounts, not everything that's sitting on the ledgers that are in those date ranges. So you know that you've got that separation of duties and you've got that separation of process. And you can be doing your reconciliations on your supplier accounts throughout the period and then coming in here and loading for payment when you want to release the money. Now, all the other functions of this area remain. It produces the ABA files to upload to the bank for internet banking and auto transfers, so you don't have to fill all that information in. So I guess I might open to David if there's any questions that have come through. I know there's a lot of content that's happened there at this point.
No,
Before we
there's
move on.
no questions yet, so everyone seems to be understanding it. It's good.
Excellent. So the next real exciting part for us is that integration then between the Megalink network, people that have provided the ability to engage with sending statements electronically, and then the speed of this process now. So typically, if you're used to using our electronic network, you've got your inbox here, and I can see that I've got an invoice sitting here for $500, and I've now got a new type of transaction called a supplier statement. So when I'm ready to process that, I can obtain the supplier statement, and that's now going to jump me straight into that module that we just went through manually with quite a lot of fields grayed out. Because just like an invoice, we're trusting the supplier that the source document is correct. And we've been able to digitize all that, which is really great. So all I've got to do now is come across to enter my salesperson in. And I've got, they've sent me a statement for this amount due. That's the dates and everything on the statement. And then I hit start. So the first thing this does is try and auto match and use some logic to reconcile it out for us. So this supplier statement includes 10 line items, 8 of which have been auto matched. So we hit OK. And what we can see here is actually it's reconciled everything out on the left and really cleaned up my account there. But on the right, it's only showing what is remaining to be reconciled out. So if I have a look at, because it's electronic, it just jumps to filtering it for us. If I have a look at all my transactions, you can see it's auto reconciled invoice, row 1 to 8, but 9 and 10 are remaining. So that's a really, really quick way of going through that process. Now we can see here that I've got nothing to reconcile this $500 invoice against, and I've got nothing to reconcile the one below it against. The options are, you've got to do your research and work out why that is not appearing. Did we not enter the inventory? Is the bill lying around somewhere? Or in this case, as you did see earlier, in my inbox, there's the invoice sitting there for some reason that I haven't received in. And you would need to investigate the reasons why, but the invoice is sitting there ready for you to accept in. And by coming back to the module here, you'd be able to refresh it and then tag it across in a manual manner. But there is a mystery with this, and the mystery is this invoice here. We don't know where that's come from. What an exciting part of this module is that given that the supplier is on a Megabus product and you're on a Megabus product, you can just come in here and then hit this button here, which requests a copy of the invoice. And if you click on that, this will go and talk to the supplier, generate a copy of the invoice, and then Megalink that back to you all within about 5 minutes. So as we keep talking and do a bit of Q&A, we'll see that invoice pop into our inbox, and then again we can bring them in and process them out. So that's saving quite a lot of time and ease in reconciling these out, and then allowing you to push that for payments through your payment processing. So David, I'm not sure if any questions are coming in the meantime.
Yeah, actually, I was just about to say that the great thing about that request, it saves both parties. The person wanting the invoice and the one sending the invoice. Previously they would have taken 2 people to do that job, and now it's all just electronically. I was very impressed with that. Actually, someone did ask if there's other screens you can put notes in, and I said I don't think so, but I wouldn't think it's unreasonable that we could probably add it into normal supply maintenance. You could go down to an invoice and you could prepare some notes about a particular invoice. So
yeah.
We
Sure,
could definitely look into that. I'll make a note.
that's make a note. Yeah, now that infrastructure's all there,
Make a note about a note.
yeah, we can certainly look at that.
But it made sense to me.
There are some, obviously we've got some notes on the planners and notes on like some debt chasing areas, but not generically across each transaction. So that's a great idea. All right.
I was thinking you could update that in that
Yeah.
first invoice if you wanted to. Choose it.
Okay. And
There's
there's
the other one.
an invoice there. Oh, okay. Good reason why it didn't match my system the first time was I needed to assign it to a product in my system. So we'll go just for sake's sake here. I'll just pick very quickly a product. I might just jump it across to something else. Not sure that's in my.
No, I don't think that one is close.
Yeah. Just match it once and accept that in for the demonstration purpose. Okay, so returning back to here, I can refresh them and tag them across. Now I've got a reconciliation out to 0, and I can finalize that statement run. And when I have a look at the list, I can now see that that auto statement has been finalized. And then again, the normal process would apply for getting that statement paid.
Justin, there was a question about do we have a list of suppliers that
Yeah,
are just using Megalink? Obviously, people that are already using Marlin, it's simple to request them, but people that are just using the Megalink process.
yeah, absolutely. So what we want to do from where we are now is that we're working with our wholesalers to get a good pair of pilot wholesalers and I guess pilot retailers to activate this service over probably the next 2 end of months to make sure that those statement runs are integrating really well in the real world. And then what we'll be doing is we'll announce general availability and the activation of the manual mode. So what we'll do is we'll send a big email blast out just announcing to people that it's now in your system. So the beauty about that is the version of GTX that everyone is already running is capable of having this in it. The code is already out there in recent updates, so that's really good. We'll send a configuration change to every system to activate that menu item, and then you can enjoy the manual world as soon as we make that announcement. Then what we'll do is we'll be working a bit closer with each wholesaler to make sure that their staff are prepared and that they've made the changes in their systems to start rolling out electronic statement matching. And what we'll do is on the back of that, we'll continue to make the announcements about which suppliers are activating and how you get on. So see more in this space. There'll be a lot more electronic mail coming out about the progress of this. And by the same token, while there's millions of transactions running around this network every year, there's always more. There's always an ability to communicate more and get your invoices received electronically, credits. And again, if you interact with other Megabus users, you can also activate that for them as well. So it has there is a request outstanding for someone to be able to look up who can I interact with. And I think it's a very good note for as we're working with these wholesalers to be able to be published in a reference area somewhere that you can go to see who you can get on board with. We long story behind why it's not there today, but um, I think we're over all those items. It was really to do with the Privacy Act when it first came in about announcing in a directory who we could electronically integrate with, but that's all past us now.
There was another great question, Chaz. Is the something like the reconciliation screen for the bank rec, and obviously that would have to include downloading that information from your bank. I don't know if you want to cover that quickly now.
Yeah, that's right. So it is a great question, and that's exactly how we would lay it out. So the answer is that in this release, no, it doesn't do the bank rec side. However, there's a partner that we do have a relationship with who is able to provide us the bank feeds. We don't have the specific work tailored, into Q1 just yet, but we're getting we've got a partnership established to get that bank feed, and you can quite conceivably see that in the future that's the framework we'll be dropping it into. There's costs associated with downloading the data from the banks, and we're just working through that at the moment. Very good. Well, really exciting to be able to release this to the market this year, and into next year. There's a lot of work gone into it, and we're really looking forward to engaging with the wholesalers to announce them rolling out, and also seeing everyone use the module. It's really positive, the early reports we've got, and really looking forward to getting it in everyone's hands. So I want to thank you. I want to wish you all a safe and happy Christmas and New Year. I know that time is coming on us. I know it's a busy period. Appreciate the time you've spent on these lunch and learns. Additionally, there's a quick survey at the end and the opportunity to provide some feedback in there about potentially even some roadmap things that you would like to see from us. So we're constantly gathering this data that to plan our year out into next year and our development resources, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you, David, for monitoring the Q&A, and have a great afternoon, everybody.